Let's talk about your next fight. You're taking on the Reaper, Robert Whittaker. Talk to me about this fight.
Come.
He's a great guy. So last time you fought Bo Nickal, and you end up finishing him. Talk to me about that fight.
Everybody here at Kill Cliff, they all knew what Bo Nickal was feeling at that moment. I've been throwing this knee for so long, dude.
You have experienced both sides of the weight cutting. Which one do you like more?
I might be big, but all the guys in the top 10, top 15 are big. It's not leading to a size advantage. That's the entire thing.
Oh, it's 15 time world champion Demetrious Johnson. You're listening to the MIGHTYCAST.
What's going on, guys? This episode of the MIGHTYCAST is sponsored by PrizePicks. Now, PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports game you can play directly from your phone. It's very simple. Go to your phone and go to the App Store and download PrizePicks. And when you do that, use my promo code MIGHTYCAST. Cool promotion going on right now. All you gotta do is place $5. Make your lineup, whether it will be NFL, which will be back soon, NBA just finished, NHL, CSGO, Valorant, they got it. You're going $50 no matter what happens in the event. And UFC Fight Night, RDR taking on Robert Whittaker is right around the corner. So make sure you guys take a look at that event board, make your picks. Just make sure you make the picks at the right place, which is PrizePicks. Now, shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring this episode of the MIGHTYCAST. Now, let us get to our guest, RDR. Enjoy. All right, go ahead, bring him in. There he is. There he is. All right, let's make sure everything looks good on your end. You got a little bruisey on your nose right there.
I am hurting everywhere, just so you know. Every bone in my body hurts.
Okay, I think we're good. He's hurting all over. Sounds good. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. 3, 2, 1, boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the MIGHTYCAST. And we're joined by a man who's making a big splash in the mixed martial arts world, in the UFC. Please help me welcome my man, Reinier de Ridder, RDR. How you doing today, brother?
Doing good. Just got home from another killer session here at Kill Cliff. Came home to my American home, my American wife here.
What the fuck, your American wife?
just my old Dutch wife. But yeah, all good. Feeling good.
Good, man. Good. You're at Kill Cliff, right? Like, when did you start making that transition? Because I know you live over in Europe. Where do you? Is it in the Netherlands?
Yeah, in the Netherlands. Yeah, so I kind of got in contact with Henry for the first time after the first Ong fight in one. And I've been coming over like for a couple of weeks in the beginning, and then my last 2 camps, I did full camps over here. I wanted to do a full camp here for the Gerald fight, but was a bit of a problem because Gerald was here full time. And now we just rented this house 2 weeks ago, and I'm coming over for full time. Kids are in school here for 3 days now. They just got here, and then making the move.
Whoa, hang on. You're over here. So 2 things. So you got in contact with Henry after the Ong La fight or before the Ong La? Because I felt like Ong La was training at Kill Cliff.
Yeah, he still is, and he's really helping me out a lot now. So, but we kind of got in touch because we're both Dutch. You know, we were just chatting a little bit after the fights. We went out, got some food together after the fights with Ong as well, and with Henry. And it was a pretty natural connection because of the Dutch background. So yeah. And ever since I've been like coming over for a couple of weeks, and now I've had 2 like full camps here, just coming over in Airbnbs, and my wife and my kids came over and they stayed with me in Airbnbs. But now we decided to make a move for at least a year, and then we'll see after.
Gotcha. Yeah. Now, was that before you took Onlaw's belts or after you took his belts?
Yeah, I think like after the first and before the second, maybe.
Okay. See, a lot of people don't know, you know, I always talk to, you know, when we do the MIGHTYCAST, or if I do any type of breakdown videos, a lot of people don't really acknowledge anything outside of the UFC, but people don't know that you have a history of fighting at the highest level. It won championship when you became a 2-sport divisional champion. You fought on law. You defeated so many great guys with submission. So let's go to the beginning, right? Your background's in jiu-jitsu, right?
Judo as a kid, and then started with jiu-jitsu, and then MMA came pretty soon after.
Gotcha. And then take me like in school in the Netherlands, what was your upbringing like getting into martial arts?
My parents put me in judo when I was like 5 years old, just to get like a bit more confidence and stuff, you know, like, and I did that until I was 15 or 16 years old. And I was decent, but I wasn't like one of the best kids. I wasn't like the most talented kid. And I didn't really know what it took to get good at something yet. But I won like some regional stuff. I won a national championship, which is not that special in the Netherlands. And then at 16, like other things got a bit more interesting. Girls, party, all the bullshit for a couple of years. Yeah. And then I moved to a new city. Yeah, it's nice too. It's cool too. Moved to a different city, tried to do judo again, find a judo gym, but I couldn't really find a cool one in the place that I went for physical therapy training, because I'm a physical therapist. So I ended up in a jiu-jitsu gym the first time, and I kind of, with what I knew from judo and being pretty big, pretty strong, I kind of was doing very well, getting a lot of people down, choking a lot of guys out. So I was like, this jiu-jitsu shit is bullshit. I'm not doing this again.
Everybody fucking, everybody says that. Manel Kopp said the exact same thing. Yeah. He was like, oh, dude, jiu-jitsu, this shit is bullshit and gay. The next thing you know, he gets taken and goes, I need to learn this shit. This shit is powerful.
Exactly. And then,
so that's same thing for you.
Yeah, same thing for me. So the first gym I went to, I was just a beginner still, and nobody was really good. And then I met somebody who told me, you went to the wrong gym, come with me to this one. I went there for the first time, and just small guys choking me out. And I was like, this is interesting. I need to learn this. So that's where it started, at a Henzo Gracie gym in Holland. And that turned to MMA pretty quickly. I did some jiu-jitsu tournaments. One thing led to another, and now it's a life for basically.
Wow. And did your parents do it at all, or they just put you in there for like activities for just to keep you active as a child?
Yeah, but they didn't do any sports. They still don't do any sports, to be honest. No.
I would assume, because they're older now, right? You're like, what, 32, 33?
34, but don't tell anybody.
Okay, you're 34, so your parents are probably like in their 60, 64, 65, so it's okay if they don't do any sports.
No, but it'd be nice if they move a little bit, but that's not happening. Yeah.
Well, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. So you say you're still a physical therapist. I remember the last time you fought, we're going to be jumping all over the place because there's so much to cover. So last time you fought Bo Nickal, somebody who's undefeated, very promising, great wrestling, right? And a lot of people in this matchup, it was like, okay, how is RDR going to be able to take down Bo Nickal and use his jiu-jitsu? Because when we saw you prior to that, you fought Kevin Holland, who's very good on his feet. You took him down, you passed his guard, you submitted with the arm triangle. But now you're fighting, one of the best wrestlers to ever come into mixed martial arts, right? Yeah. And you end up finishing him. Talk to me about that fight when you're fighting a guy who's, everybody says, they said fraud check, but I don't think it's fraud check. I think Bo Nickal's still in his stages of learning how to fight, because, when you're a wrestler for that long at the highest level, you can't have like a long amateur career. Nobody's going to want to fight you. But for you, you've had a long career. So when you got in there, what was it like fighting somebody like Bo Nickal, who had a big name and, an amazing wrestling career?
Yeah, so first off, there was a couple things that we saw in the study that we really found really interesting and we thought we could exploit. But the feeling of coming in and fighting this guy, I was hoping for a top 5 opponent after Kevin. But he is very popular, he's very well known here. So I was very happy that they gave me him. And when I started studying him, we saw a couple things that we thought we could exploit. And I had this thing in the back of my mind: if he takes me down, I'm good, you know. I'm always good on the floor. If he takes me down, then what? I wouldn't mind, and I didn't have the feeling that I needed to take him down because of all the work that I've been putting in my striking, all of the work I've been putting into my clinch game. So yeah, I felt very confident coming in, and it was a very big opportunity, so it was all very good. And I was happy to get him with the knee finally, like you did to another great wrestler, like my countryman Alistair Overeem did to another great wrestler.
Yep.
So yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I think what I saw in the fight was very important coming in is he likes when you give him a little bit of space. He likes when you give him some time to think. When you bite on his face, when you step back, and when you respect him, that's when he's most dangerous. With his striking, because he has knocked a couple people out in the UFC, and with his wrestling. So if you bite on that little pop feint that he likes to do, bum bum bum, and you take a step back, that's when he does his best work. So coming in, the most important thing for me was not giving him any respect, just pressuring him from the first moment and making him work everywhere, getting into the clinch and hurting him with some good stuff.
Well, it seemed like the more I watch you fight now compared to when you fought, not saying you didn't have more of a clear cut. I feel like you felt like you had a more clear cut game plan when you fought in one. Like when you fought like you knew where you were strong at. You would take him down, pass his guard, and submit him. You know, stay undefeated a little bit. Even when you fought in UFC, when you fought Kevin Holland, you have a game plan. When you fought Bo Nickal, it's like, okay, he clearly knows what he needs to do, and your IQ is, so I just need to stay on him. And then when you threw that knee inside the void, and he threw the right, he tried to hit you, and you caught him an arm, and I was like, ooh, that's a beautiful step-in knee. That's like Dutch kickboxing style, like where it's like boom, bah, and I'm like, well, he is from the Netherlands. He is working with Henry Hooft. So it's kind of crazy to see when you said like you saw his tendencies, were able to capitalize on it, knowing that you're more of a ground guy. Usually stand-up artists see that tendency, if that makes sense. But maybe it's because you're working very closely with Henry Hooft.
Yeah, that as well. Look, it hasn't always showed in all of my fights. So I haven't always needed to use it, but I've been doing this kickboxing thing for over 10 years as well, you know, and I've just been happy every time I didn't have to show it, and I was just able to take somebody down and choke them out. But it was cool to finally show something that I've been working on for so long as well. And I think everybody here at Kill Cliff, and they've told me this since I've come back, they all knew what Bo Nickal was feeling at that moment, because I've been throwing this knee for so long, dude. I've been throwing it in pads and at the bag, at everybody I've been sparring with. So it's really one that I've invested very heavily in. Yeah.
Well, I don't think people realize how fucking big you are. Like, I've met you in Singapore. I think it was Singapore and Manila. We were swimming at the pool. Yeah, Singapore. And I was like, God, you're fucking big. And we're trying to do a competition who could swim underneath the water the furthest. I think you and James got the furthest. But when you fought, so let's talk about you fighting in one with the weight cutting and you fighting in the UFC weight cutting, because now you're fighting at 185. You can dehydrate yourself. You can get completely down to, I feel like it's your competition weight. When you fought at one, what were you fighting at one?
Yeah, so at that time I was a little lighter walking around. So I had a hard time like gaining weight to even be able to cut some weight to get to 205 as what middleweight was at that time. So I always walked around like 210, maybe 212, 213.
That's still fucking big. That's still big. So when you say you're walking around a little bit lighter, okay, continue. I don't want to interrupt you. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So at that point, you know this, and it's not something I want to get too deep in, but you know, everybody in one nowadays, they all cheat that hydration test, right? Like,
I don't want to call it cheating. I would say they find loopholes, I guess you can call it.
Exactly. Like when you were fighting, it's great. You were always in a weight class below the guy you were fighting in one. Like when you fought Miquinho, the
Oh,
guy who's from
Adriano.
here, Adriana.
Adriano. Yep.
He's a weight class above you. Let's be honest. He's 5 kilos at least heavier than you on Fight Night, maybe even more.
I don't know. I talked to him. He
No,
said,
come on, dude. He is.
No.
The dude is like a head taller, and he's just as fucking muscular. He's a lot heavier than you are. That's what I believe. But so at that time I was like 210, 215, and then I would just like diet a little bit, but I would still on weighing day I would still eat, and it was pretty easy for me to make that weight in one always. And meanwhile, through the years, like steadily lifting and eating, I gained like a bit more. So I need to do everything right now to make weight.
What's going on, guys? This episode of the MightyCast is sponsored by Bear Mattress. Now, Bear Mattress is an absolutely amazing mattress. Me and my wife have been sleeping on ours for about 4 months, and we train hard, we eat hard, and we want to recover hard. And that's why Bear Mattress helps us sleep hard. Now, if you guys want to get out of your old crusty mattress, all you gotta do is go to bearmattress.com/mighty. That's gonna help you save 40% on your mattress. Now, the cool thing about Bear Mattress is that this mattress shows up directly to your front doorstep in a cardboard box. Bring that bad boy in, get it upstairs, cut the plastic off. The air's gonna get in there and it's gonna inflate. Boom, you got a brand new bed. You don't have to go to the store. And the cool thing about Bear Mattress, they have a 120-day sleep. So if you don't like the way the mattress feels, they will take it back guaranteed. Now, if you guys wanna upgrade your mattress, get that old crusty thing out of there, all you gotta do is go to bearmattress.com/mighty, and that's gonna be save 40% on your complete order. Guys, it's time to upgrade. I know you guys train hard, you eat hard, and you gotta sleep hard. So make sure you guys sleep hard with Bear Mattress. Shout out to Bear Mattress for sponsoring this episode of the MightyCast. Now let us get back to our guest. So what do you walk around now?
I'm getting just stepped on the scale, like 96 kilos, which is 215.
Damn, 215 to 185.
Yeah.
God damn, you a big motherfucker. You know that?
Yeah.
And
I don't want to be, but it is what it is.
Well, I think it's so let's go back. So I think it's more of a natural, like when you think of one championship with the weight cutting thing, it was designed for people to fight in their natural weight class, right? Yeah. I mean, same thing in, I think, all aspects of all martial arts, right? It's like, hey, here's the weight classes. You can pick and choose what you want to do. You know, when I fought at, 135, when I fought against Dominic Cruz, I was coming home weighing 138 after training. So I was very small for that size, but I was fighting in my natural weight class, 135, right? Because it's like, hey, I'm cutting 2 pounds. This is where I'm at. Where you got guys, I think Dom might got it to 160. I know Aljo gets up to like 175. He cuts all the way down to 135. Then when I went to one championship, I didn't have to cut much weight. Granted, I was a lot bigger. I was like 141 and I cut to 135. So it was more natural. But then when I fought in UFC at flyweight, I was cutting from 142, all the way down to 125, doing like 8.5 pound weight cut. So I feel, there are people out there who try to find loopholes in the system where it's like, hey, I'm gonna, I'm gonna cut 20 pounds. But that's why they have the post weigh-in stuff where it's like, hey, if you gain what I think is like 5 or 10%, I'm not sure, after you fight, then you get, dinged the penalty. And I think California does that too. I think California does that. I'm not sure. I haven't fought in California in a long time. They do weigh you.
Because I fought Kevin in LA. They do weigh you, but there's no penalty or whatever. And one took that out a couple of years ago as well.
Gotcha.
So I thought that was a very important thing in the whole process they had over there. If they weigh you on fight night, that's what really tells you what you weigh, right? What you walk around at. So I thought that was very good when they did, and they used to do 5%, which is still a lot, I think. But they took that out because I think they found out that everybody was cheating the hydration test anyway. So.
Now, what do you like better? Do you like fighting at 185, where you have that size? Where, for me, I was driving yesterday and I was thinking, I was like, you have experienced both sides of the weight cutting, right? You've
Yeah,
done
like
it
you.
like me, right? And so for me, I want to get your piece, but for me, I'm driving. I'm like, you know what? I want RDR thinks about this. I'm gonna ask him. For me, there's a part of me where it's like, I love the weight cutting. It's like, okay, I'm gonna cut 8.5 pounds. I'm gonna be dehydrated as fuck. I'm gonna step on the scale looking like Skeletor, ashy as hell. And if I see a drip of water, I'm going to, have the biggest heart on, right? And then you wait, and then you gain all your weight back up. You step in octagon or the cage, and I'm weighing like 141, and I'm just gonna fucking see if my opponent can floor to the pedal to the metal after being dehydrated, right? That was the younger me. And then now the older me is like, I'm too fucking old. I don't want to cut to 125 anymore. I'm going 135. I enjoy not having to cut weight, but I feel that I enjoyed both of them in the time of my career. Now I feel like you flip-flop. Beginning of your career, you were doing the hydration stuff. Now you're at the point where you're like, all right, we're going to diet. I'm going to be a big size 185er. How do you feel now about which one do you prefer and which one do you like more?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. The mental part of the weight cut, it is like interesting to push yourself like that and to kind of do everything right just before the fight. It has something, but of course, the way we do it now in the UFC, it's not gonna lead to the best performance possible because I might be big, but all the guys in the top 10, top 15 are big, and we kind of do the same trick before the fight of our lives, and we kind of end up being like a couple kilos, a couple pounds apart on fight night. So it kind of it's kind of, I think it's a detriment to the product to some extent. So I do think there should be a way. There should be an investigation, or there should be people looking at a way to get around the weight cutting, because we do this trick. We spend a whole week that we could have been spending to get better before the fight, to be at our optimal level to be at our best in the fight. We spend all that time just working on the weight cut and doing everything right to make the weight. And the guys on the other side of the cage at fight night did the same thing. And at fight night, he weighs the same as I do. So, like,
I'm just laughing because you're like, we're spending a fucking full week doing tricks, water
loading,
water loading, dieting, cutting the carbs and all that stuff. But that's the thing I love about it, right? It's like,
it's interesting. I know what you mean.
We're doing the same thing. And I was like, all right, buddy, we're both fucking dehydrated. We're going to see who can rehydrate the fast. That's when they have the IVs. You had guys putting shit in IVs. And then you would fight, and it's like, for me, it helped me because my pace was so high and so fast. So it's like, could they keep up with that pace if I was able to put them on them? And obviously, you're absolutely right. Like, if you can come in the fight hydrated, strong, that last week, instead of spinning on dieting and water loading, you're spinning on, make sure you're getting your right nutrition, the right sleep, everything, you're going to be a better athlete. And so that's why I always like to know, which one do you prefer? Would you prefer to be like, fuck it, I'm gonna go 205 and fight guys who are cutting down from 235 to 240, or you're like, fuck that, I'm dieting, I'm spending a week so I can have the size advantage?
No, but it's not leading to a size advantage. That's the entire thing.
You got to get fucking bigger. That's what you got to do.
No, because it's just there's limits to it, So we're both as big when fight night comes. But what we did in one, it doesn't work either. So
because
at least in the UFC, it's fair. That's the most important thing. It's fair. We're both doing the same shit. Yeah. It's both of us. It's not ideal, but at least what we're doing is fair, and we end up being the same weight when we step into the cage. But in one, they do all these tricks. And they kind of act like we're going to do something that's fair. They kind of act like we're going to do something that there's drug testing and all this stuff. But
I think when it comes to the drug testing, I think I always tell everybody this. I think USADA was the best.
Yeah.
USADA was the best because they will come for you every day, every night. If you're at the liquor store, if you're swimming, if you're playing video games, they will come for you. It doesn't matter where you're at, they will find you. But now a lot of people, I felt a lot of people were bitching about USADA showing up. Oh, they're interrupting my sleep, or why don't I need to tell them wherever I'm at? It's like, dude, so we can see if you're fucking cheating or not, right? So for me, I think USADA is the best because it was a third party. You know, they caught John Jones, a little picogram in there. They caught, you know, TJ Dillashaw with the EPO. I mean, USADA is fucking king. So I will always stand by USADA. Like, I think USADA is the best because if they drug test you, anybody should be able to drug test you. And if you're in a testing pool, they should know where you're at 24/7. You're an athlete, blah, 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 blah. If there should be nothing showing up on your drug test. And I've been clean my whole entire career. And so when people look, oh, I don't know how that got, it's like, dude, like, come on. So USADA is the best. Like, there's times when I fought in the UFC and I would fight, I never got drug tested. I'm like, oh, I didn't get drug tested this time. There's times I fought in one championship, I never got drug tested. But when I was in the USADA testing pool, it was probably the best, most efficient testing I've ever had in my whole entire career.
Yeah, so I missed that part. I didn't compete in UFC during USADA, but yeah. What they're doing now, it's at least it's good. At least there is drug testing. Like in one, there's no. I've never been tested, not even before fights or whatever. So, but they said they were going to drug test in the beginning and everything, you know. And I think that kind of got away from them. And the same thing happened with the making weight, with the hydration test. They started with it and they did. I think in the beginning everybody kind of adhered to it. But then people figured out how to cheat it, and then it was kind of like, really that system doesn't really work either.
Gotcha. So I'm assuming you prefer just fuck it, raw cut weight. If you can make it, you can make it. If you can't, it's your bad.
Yeah, for now. But I think there should be a way to do this better. There must be a better solution, you know. Like, what if the principle for me would be, I don't mind to fight a guy who's 10 pounds above me or 10 pounds below me. That range is fine to me, you know, right? 5 kilos below, 5 kilos above, that's all right. Anything more than that might be interesting, but that's a different conversation. Yeah.
You know, I think I just saw the solution. Maybe they should do it like IBJJF, right? I don't know if you ever competed for them, but it's, you know, I fight at 154, which is the weight limit for featherweight. I walk around 147. So I'm not, you know, I'm walking into the competition, my natural weight, right? It's you weigh in and you go right into the loaded pen. Maybe what they should do is before you fight, you weigh in, like it's like, okay, the weight limit's 185, or let's just say 195 just for shits and giggles. 185. You weigh in at 195. You have to hit 185, then you go fight. It's like, all right, coming to the stage, we have RDR taking on Robert Whittaker. First of the stages, RDR 195. He's making his way down to the octagon. Robert Whittaker steps on this scale. 205. He misses weight. All right, now we're gonna. He can't fight. I think that's the best way to do it because in IBJJF, if you miss weight, they're like, oh, you can't compete. Sorry, you know the weight limit 154. You know, and you can't go up a division because the bracket's already been made, it's already been processed. So it's almost like once you hit that scale, it's like you fucking miss it, you're not competing. So I feel like that's the only truly way that you can do it, where it's like you weigh in, you go and fight. Because if you weigh in, you know, 4 hours before or 3 hours, whatever it is, you know, you can try to do same day weigh-ins, but people are going to find a loophole system to get through that, right? So I think the only way, what you want is like, I'm here, I'm 185, I'll walk to the cage, I'll see you in 5 minutes, then we're gonna fight. Then it doesn't become, it's not an entertainment, it's more of a sport where it's like, hey, we're gonna fight. If somebody misses weight, they're not fighting. I think that would be very hard to do, but I feel like that's the best way to make that happen, to find people truly fighting at their natural weight. Because, you know, if you wanna cut all that weight at 185, and you're gonna step on a scale, you ain't get a chance to rehydrate, you don't get a chance to fucking put on the size and all that shit.
Yeah. So the risk with this is that we get last minute cancellations, of course. But we have an entire circus around weight cutting in the UFC now as well. I love these guys because they've really been an awesome help to me. But the PI nutritionist, they fly all over the world to every UFC event, and they help us to get to the right weight class, right? To do the weight cut. So if we do it like this, we weigh in just a couple hours before the fight, or an hour before the fight, or just before the fight, and we weigh in the day before the fight, and we weigh in 2 days before the fight, and we weigh in 3 days before the fight, and we put a system there. Just if you miss weight, even if it's just a little bit, there's a certain fine, and we the UFC or the commission, they track your weight the entire week you're there, because everybody's going to be there a week in advance, and they think of the right system to say you can be like a 1% over fight weight the day before. You can be a 1.5, 3 days before, or whatever. So, I think there is something there. We're not gonna get to the bottom of it right now, but I think there should be like somewhat of a solution to this problem, because we're all doing it, and it's not right, the weight cutting.
Well, so I feel like you're not a fan and you are a fan. I feel like you're on the fucking fence. You're like, oh God, I fucking love it, but I only love it because I'm doing it, but I don't love it because I don't want to do it. I don't know. It's a hard problem to solve. I feel like it's something that's going to be in the sport forever. Not just, obviously you see it in boxing, right? Like they're like, oh, I don't want you to rehydrate. Yeah. It's in the fucking contract. You can't rehydrate X amount of, pounds, whatever. But I feel it's always going to be, even Joe Rogan, he talks about, he goes, there should be no weight cutting. It should be, this is what you do. You show up, you fight, and it is what it is. But, I feel like it's a hard problem to solve, just because there's so many variables. Are you doing, like I said, last minute cancellations? And I feel they're more in the mind of making money and not having any late cancellations. Because you think about it, how can you market, an event not knowing if this guy's going to show up or not, if he's going to miss something or miss weight? I think it's, investors are going to like it. Sponsors are going to like it. Arenas aren't going to like it. So,
no, yeah. But that's something. That's something they can attack, right? Like I said, the circus we have now around weight cutting to make sure people make weight in a weight cut.
Yep.
These guys can be allocated to somebody to check their weight during camp, to check their weight 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out. There could be like certain schedules to follow to make sure you're on weight on fight day.
Yeah,
but I think just like in one, they started doing something about this after somebody died. I think somebody has to die, right? If nobody dies, then nothing's going to change.
You fucking... So what you're saying is you're waiting for somebody to,
For somebody die. Right?
Yeah, I think for that, that was a very unfortunate incident. And I think, when it comes to weight cutting, it's a very, very scientific thing to do it. I've been doing it since I was in middle school, since 8th grade, like wrestling. When I was, my he's 11 years old, and he's going in his 6th grade. Yeah, so I was 13, 14 years old. So I was kind of weight at 14, and, I'd done it all the way up to fucking a grown-ass man. So for me, I understand how to do it. Yeah, I'm definitely a pro, where there's been a lot of people out there who don't know what they're doing. They don't know if they have any, prior, what's the word I'm looking for, medical history, if their body can handle the weight cut. So I feel, I'm a fucking pro at it. I don't mind it, but I did enjoy not cutting the weight at the end of my career, just fighting at 135.
Yeah, exactly. But you were fighting bigger guys.
Yes, I was fighting bigger guys. I was fighting bigger guys. And, they're all fucking 5'11", 5'10", and shit. I do miss my 5'3" boys like Joseph, John Dotson, Ian McCall.
Exactly.
Those guys are 5'5". So,
hey, I wanted to ask you, DJ, did you come into that first Henry Cejudo fight as well with a plan to hit him with the knees?
Yeah, so the game plan against Henry Cejudo the first time was, when we watched him, I feel like when I watch somebody fight live in person, I can pick up like what they're gonna do. And I remember watching him fight Drusio Formiga. This is before he developed his new style. I was like, this guy's a plant. Like he's gonna come in front, stand there, and just throw. And I was okay, but we know he's gonna feel comfortable inside the clinch, like the wrestling clinch. And so when he took me down, I was like, he's not gonna pass my guard. Like he's just gonna like try to do whatever he's gonna do. And so once we started clinching and he took me down with the inside trip, I got back to my feet and we got back in the clinch again. I hit him with that knee and I felt his body go, ugh. And I was like, oh, that hurt you. Oh, okay. Yeah. And then he started wincing. And then that's when I just started going to town with the knee, the traditional Muay Thai knee combinations. Yeah. And then once I heard him with the, the knee to the head and he started backing up, I was like, okay, this is gonna be it. So I didn't know I was going to hurt him with the knee, but I knew I was going to fight it. We were like, okay, we're going to fight him in the clinch because he feels comfortable in the clinch. Because when he's there, he's going to feel relaxed. His heart rate's going to go down. He's going to be like, okay, I've done this at the highest level. There's nothing he can do. And that's when we were able to sneak in the knee.
Yeah, I think the same thing happened with Bo as well. Bo thought he was like pretty safe there with his underhook. I had the whizzer. He had the underhook, and he felt in that position. He felt pretty like safe. He thought like he thought he was gonna be okay. But the interesting thing is when they move their hips back like a little bit, you get just enough space to hit him with that knee every time. And I got him in the first round a couple times with that with the knee, and I already knew in that first round that this is not. He doesn't like this. He was already fading in that first round. And then at the end, he was. I saw he was coming in, swinging wild, and I thought, now I got you, because he was already hurt. This was his last effort to like get me out of there. And thought, now I'm gonna get you to the body. Yeah.
Well, the thing I remember watching I remember watching it. I remember watching the highlights and I was like, okay, I'm going to go back and watch that because I can't remember. I feel like I was traveling and doing something, but then I went back and watched it and I remember you had, like you said, he had the underhook and you were putting your head in there, creating that space between each other. And then he, like you said, wrestlers or people who don't know how to fight in a clinch, they give themselves that space to be able to block, like just to create some space, and you're banging the body and you're also banging the legs. And I was like, oh, goddamn, it seems like he's had some training, like some Muay Thai training, like MMA style. And then when you're hitting him, I was like, fuck, this is looking good, RDR. And then you're doing these short shots too. I felt like you overwhelmed him, where I don't feel like nobody was able to do that in a fight. Like you said, they gave him respect. He fought Paul Craig, where Paul Craig is, he was standing outside, not really trying to engage in the wrestling, not worried about if he did take it down, I have my submissions off my back, where you're like just smothering, crossing the void, just being all over him like white on rice. And it paid off because when you threw that fucking lead knee, he just, and he crumbled, and he was like, you're like, yep, got him. Oos.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In the Paul Craig fight, that was something that really stood out to me. Paul gave him all the respect. So every time they were fighting at the kickboxing range, and he was just always in his back of his mind. What I saw is, I hope he doesn't shoot. I hope he doesn't shoot. He always kept that distance to negate the wrestling. So that was something I really didn't want to do. I really didn't want to give him that respect. And another thing that we were saying going into the fight is he's never really been hurt. He's never really been hit by anybody like significantly. Paul Craig didn't really hurt him in any fashion. All the guys before him didn't really hit him with anything big. So we thought, let's see what happens when he gets hit. Yeah.
No,
and I wanted to add this as well. DJ, because you like to go to the Thai clinch like double Thai, like two hands, and underhook, right? In the clinch normally, you work from the underhook, but you don't really work with the whizzer a lot, right?
No, I don't. I'm not a wizard fan. No, the reason why I don't like the wizard is because when I go Muay Thai plum and I'm big at the knees, I let them decide. Do they want to pummel in? Then once they pummel in, like underneath my arm, I don't underhook. I don't wizard, because when I wizard, I become attached to them, right? Like if I want to do anything, I have to bring that wizard out, and then I get to decide. So when they wizard, when they underhook or come underneath me, I basically sag on there and I keep my left hand on their back. That way I can go back to the head, or I can use this to, you know, push her this way, push this way, go back to this part. Or I'll stay here and I'll use this hand to open up that space between their body, and I just start kneeing them. I can pop an elbow, or I can bring this inside and go this way. Like Wizards, like Matt always says it, Wizards was the worst thing that was ever invented in mixed martial arts. Like he was like, why the fuck are people wizard? Like, oh, I'm gonna grab you. I'm gonna grab you. It's like, don't get me wrong, there's a time and place for a wizard. Like somebody shoots a blast double leg, I wizard to kick him off me. Then once I wizard to kick him off me, I let go of the wizard, and then I get my hand to, you know, my hand's more functional like this, moving this way than like this. Like that's one reason I love like fighting or training, is to like, you go with somebody who doesn't know how to fight in that space and they wizard. It's like, oh, you're just gonna wizard. It's like, okay, there's a knee tap, or you suck back, and it's, you know, I'm so fucking animated because my mind's going through it when you ask me those questions. So yeah, I go plumb, and I play the game from there to see what they do. Yeah,
that's what I see in your fights as well, because from that Muay Thai plum, when you hit them a couple times, that's when they break the clinch as well, right? That's when they go away sometimes, and you're fine with that, of course, because then you can pressure again and you can start striking range again.
Yeah, because they're leaving, right? For me, anytime I'm in a clinch and somebody's trying to get away from me, I was like, you don't want to clinch, like you don't want to clinch, like let's clinch. Like now, like have I ever? I don't think any time in my career I've clinched with somebody besides Rodtang. Okay, Rodtang don't count because he's one of the fucking best at clinching. Yeah. Anybody I've ever fought in mixed martial arts and I clinched them, I've never felt like, wow, this guy's like, oh, I'm so scared. Like every time I clinch somebody, they want nothing to do with my fucking clinch. Like they just run away from it. They're like, nope, I'm not. And that's what I fell in love with, because it's like, I'm in a space, I'm the smallest guy, and you guys can't survive in this clinch. Like I'm so mind blown. But you go to Thailand, you get Rodtang in the clinch, it's like, I'm gonna wrestle you. And then that's why, like I said, it's mixed martial arts is the easy sport in the world, become world champion. You said it, just
I can see that. The interesting thing is just nobody spends time there. And there's hardly any gyms in the world where people spend time in the clinch. Who starts with an underhook wizard? Nobody. Or who goes who starts from over under? Nobody does that shit.
Nobody. Or who starts like this, like
in a Thai plum,
in a Thai plum. Like, you know, you go back and watch my fights with Henry, John Dotson, Ali Bogotinov, Adriano, everybody. Like I'm always fighting for that dominant position, because it's like, I have control of your head and your posture, and I'm going to need the fuck out of you. Like, I'm not worried about, you know, double under. I mean, I can get double under, but I want that Thai clinch so bad, because they're just in such a non-dominant position. And that's why I love the Thai clinch in mixed martial arts. Now, when you fight in a fucking Thai like Rodtang, you're going to fucking shoot as fast as you can. That's why I did the second round.
Very good. And I think that's very interesting as well, as the more time you just need to spend time in these positions. That's what makes you good at something. And I think Danaher showed that very beautifully with the leg locks a couple of years ago. They were just spending more time at leg locks. They weren't better grapplers because they weren't training as long as some of the grapplers have been around. But in the beginning of Danaher Death Squad, they were just better at leg locks because they were spending all the time there. And that's still something that's very important to me as a principle. It's still very stuck in my mind. You need to spend time in certain positions, and if I get to spend more time in a position than my opponent has over the last couple of years, over the last maybe even 10 years, if I've been doing over-under clinches the last 10 years, like I've been doing, if I've been doing back takes and back controls for as long as I have, they can never. There's not enough time in the day for them to make good on that. There's not enough time in the day for them to make up what they lost over the years. That's always something that when I think about how to schedule my training, especially in fights coming up, I set aside time for certain positions that I think are important, and I work on those extra.
Yeah, that's a great mindset to have. I agree. I think that's something that a lot of people don't really focus on, or maybe they do. I'm not in everybody's camp, but
No,
I
that's true.
think you're absolutely right. That's what I did, and that's even when I continue to do to this day in my journey in gi jiu-jitsu. So
Yeah.
that's a smart mindset to have. Now I want to ask you a question. I want to switch gears. Now you basically left the Netherlands and now you're full-time just for a year, like you said, in America training. You uprooted the kids, you brought, your American wife with you, or did you leave the Dutch wife at home? What did you bring? You get a new wife, or what was that mindset like to just uproot, like, hey, we're gonna spend a year here in America while I get ready for these fights?
Now, my Dutch wife, she's been telling me for years, we need to be there. We need to be in Florida, because it's just I need a lot of. My American wife is talking to me now. I don't know what she's saying, but.
My American wife, no, she's saying you were speaking English for the last fucking 45 minutes. I love that. I love it. All right, continue.
Yeah, she's been telling me for a lot of years, and I've known as well. I just need the people here. There's so many good high level guys. I can get so much work in a day that I struggle to get in a week sometimes at home, because I need to, like, at home I need to stalk these guys. You motherfuckers show up tomorrow in training and give me good work. And then I need another guy, and then I need another guy, because one is not enough. And here, the only thing I need to do is show up, and there's going to be endless good bodies, and there's going to be endless coaching, and it makes everything so much easier.
Do you think that is that what do you think that's crediting your success recently inside, the octagon? Now that you're fighting, like, you're getting good bodies, good coaching all the time. You have your wife, you have your kids with you, instead of when you're back home, you're trying to piece it together, hunting down people, and then you're also working full time as a physical therapist.
No, I've been working as much the last couple of years. So my wife and I had a practice together, which we just closed last month. So we had that for over 10 years. And
wow.
Yeah, for the last couple of years, somebody worked for us there, and we didn't do as much. But when she went on holidays and when she was sick or whatever, I would step in. But now it's an end of an era, so now it's just fighting from here on.
Good for you, man. Because I remember the last time you fought, they said on the broadcast, and I was like, he's a full-time physical therapist. And I was like, fuck, man, he about to beat Bo Nickal as a full-time physical therapist. I was like, I got to ask you, I got to get more confirmation on that. So now you guys close your practice. Now it's full-time. You're in America for a year, and then you're going to do your training camps here with the wife and kids. How is that? Like, you hear a lot of guys like Martin Nguyen. He was he also fought at one, and we fought on the same cards. He would leave his family. He would come to Florida, leave the wife and kids at home. But you brought him with you. What do you prefer? Do you like having him with you, or do you like, let me do my thing, I'm gonna focus on fighting, and then when I'm done, I'll come back home, and then we'll continue to, our lives together?
Nah, I gotta have my kids close to me, man. I gotta smell these kids. I gotta touch these kids all day. That's I can't be without them for too long. And my wife is nice to have close to me as well. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I gotta have them close. Yeah, she's somewhere over here. I don't know. Yeah.
Now, how old are your kids?
I've 4 and 6.
Okay.
Yeah, they're still young, and yeah, so it's nice to have them here. I've been here for a couple of weeks as well, a couple of weeks at a time by myself, and it's nice to be able to fully focus on training, eating, whatever. But it gives me so much joy to be with the kids, play with them, and that's the most important thing. I can't miss them for too long.
Gotcha. Now, was it hard, like, moving them away from, home? Because I'm assuming you still have family, like mom, dad, your in-laws over in the Netherlands, correct?
Yeah, definitely. It's a very big step for them, but they don't really look. They're so in the moment. You know this with your kids, most likely. if you ask him, you want to go to America? Yeah. If you ask him, you want to go to school? Yeah, let's go. It's so cool. So,
You want to go to fucking bed? No. Nobody wants to go to bed. What are you talking about?
yeah, exactly. And I wanted to ask you, DJ, because you didn't. You always trained with like a smaller team, right? You didn't have like
Yep.
a lot of different sparring partners at all. Is that something you
Yeah.
struggled with, like getting them to show up, or?
No, I think for me, the beginning of my career, we had like a lot of good bodies. Like we had Matt Brown. I mean, I was always the smallest guy in the gym, right? So at the beginning of the career, it was like me, Matt Brown, Rich Franklin, Jens Pulver, Spencer Fisher, Mizuno, Wiki, Tim Boach. So and then Bibiano was probably the smallest guy to my size,
I want to say that
right?
those
But then
guys are all twice your size.
twice my size, right? But I would see there and watch. And then like my main spar partner was Matt. But then I had good guys. I had, James, Pat Runez. I had some good guys, but they were all, what's the word I'm looking for? They were all hobbyists. They were never professionals. And then at the tail end of my career, it was a small group after COVID. Like the gym kind of restructured, I guess you could say. Matt was still my main sparring partner. And then we had James Yang. He was a professional. And then we had Tony. He was a financial advisor. And then we had our sister school, Charlie's Combat Club, C3. They started training with us. And that's when I got some really good work in with Bilal. Bilal Hassan. He's like a 7-0. He's a CFFC world champion right now. He's fucking good. Like he's going to be a very, very good athlete at 125. He's still young. He's need to put some more size on him because he's not very big 125er. But to get back to your point, it was your question. It was a very small gym. Like it was never nothing like what you're at right now, American Top Team, Uriah Fabers. Like it's a very, very small gym around a whole bunch of hobbyists, which I prefer because I feel I can get good work with hobbyists than people who are like, I don't know what my skill set would have been if I was at a fucking gym like what you're at, or, in Vegas. I just don't know, because maybe I would have got injured. Maybe I wouldn't have got as good, or maybe I wouldn't have got as much as attention that I did at a smaller gym.
Yeah. There's definitely something to be said about training with guys who are not as good as you, because that's basically what it comes down to, right? They're like just a little level below you. And I do think most of your training should be done with guys who are a little below you.
Yep. I think
like 70%, 80%, like
yeah, I think it's good to have train people who suck, who's not good at all. Then you need to train people who are just as good as you, and then you need to train with somebody who's way better than you. And I think the people who I trained with who's way better than me was Matt. Like Matt would fuck me up. He'll come home, have cheesecake at night, come in and just whoop my ass. Granted, he was bigger than me, but he was still beat me up but not hurt me. And then I would train guys who were just as good as me, who were a little bit bigger, like James, Tony. Like they were bigger and they knew the same curriculum that I did. So we knew the same style of fighting. And if I can implement the curriculum to somebody who knows what I'm trying to do to them, then that will be good. And then you just train with people who have no idea what the fuck they're doing. Then you don't hurt them, but you just move, pop, and move them to see how the body moves. And then I feel like going back and forth between those three, in my opinion, it's probably the best.
Yeah. Like I've never had like nice training session that I think I've grown from a lot. Like guys who are very much below me, but I think if they're just a little bit below you level wise, you gotta be on point, but you can still try stuff. And I think that's very, very important. You can try to work on stuff, add new stuff to your game. If you're just sparring guys your level all day, all week, then you're not gonna grow. You're just gonna be stuck. But I think you need that push as well. Like, as you said, a guy who is high level, your level or higher. I think that's very important as well. So, but that mix is an interesting one to get out, because if you start your career at a kill cliff like here, how are you gonna grow? It's so hard to get good. I'd think, but yeah.
No, I think you're right. I think in anything, not just in the gym, but I also think in your career, you know, like I view your career in one championship successful, right? You win in there, you won a lot, came a 2 divisional sport champion. You fight Anatoly, right? You know, Anatoly's a little monster. I don't know what's going on in your career at that time. You leave one championship, you do a couple regional fights, you come to UFC, you're at your weight class 185. You're having a lot more success. You're fighting way more frequently, right? Like you fought what? I feel like you fought 3 times in less than a year already, right?
Yeah. I fought 3 times in 6 or 7 months now.
Yeah, 3 times in the last 6, 7 months. Like, I feel in mixed martial arts, the more active you are, the better you can be, right? Like everybody's different. Like I remember if you could fight as much, like look, Kevin Holland, that motherfucker, you submitted him, he was like, ain't nothing, dog. He goes out there and fights at 170, right? It's like you fought 3 times in 7 months, and you're about to fight again against Robert Whittaker. It's like you're putting, you know, Robert, you're stacking your paper, you're getting life-changing money. It's a different beast. But back to the context is that career you had at one championship, fighting 2 divisional sport, fighting Allah, fighting Anatoly, fighting those guys. Now you're at UFC. Now you're thriving. You look at Rampage Jackson. He fought in Pride, Mauricio Shogun Rua, Vanderlei Silva. Then he comes to UFC. Then he starts thriving. I feel like that's what you're at the peak of your career right now because you've had that success at another organization that was tough. And now you're at a UFC where you're starting to, like, I've had good experience. And now your guys are starting to see it. Now I'm getting good training. I got great coaching. I got my wife and kids. We're all happy. Now you're going to see the best version of RDR.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly like that. It taught me a lot to win all those fights. It taught me a lot to lose those 2 fights against Anatoly. And it's nice to put a nice dot behind that. Leave it behind me, and I'll focus on my career here in UFC. And all that stuff, all those fights have really made me into the guy I am now. All the knowledge that it gave me, and now I'm trying to reap the rewards. Yeah,
love it. Okay, now let's talk about your next fight against one of the, he's a great friend of the show. I love Robert Whittaker. You're taking on the Reaper, Robert Whittaker.
Welcome.
Talk to me about this fight. He's a great guy. Talk to me about this fight, right? Obviously, we saw his last fight when he fought Hamza Chimaev. He got his back, blew his fucking teeth out. Now, you have, a strength, and I feel you probably a bigger body than he is. But I love this matchup. I feel like ever since you got into UFC, you've had good matchups, right? Like you're just rolling. Now you get Robert Whittaker. I'm excited about this matchup. Tell me about, when this got offered to you, and where's your head at, baby?
Yeah, so for some reason, after every fight, I get a new fight a week later. So I'm in somebody's mind, so that's good. And the dude is a legend. He's been around for so long. He's won it all, lost it all, and now he's building back up, and it's very admirable as well. Because might be, as you said, it's not that hard to become a world champion. It's hard, but
I know. When you said it's not hard to become a world champion, I was like, God, why hasn't everybody done it? I'm not so sure.
Exactly, but it's you know what I'm talking about. But and after that, he lost it all. But it's easy to then give up and just coast or whatever. But he's still very dangerous, lethal. If you remember what he did to Ikram Aliskerov, he was very good in that fight. And even in the Hamzat fight, I thought he was doing well. He was defending very well. It wasn't like a real choke that he got him with. So yeah, I think he's still there. He's still at the top of the heap, and it's gonna be a good fight if I can get him out of there spectacularly. I think I have a chance of fighting for the title.
That's crazy. It's crazy that in the last 6 months you fought 3 times. 2 finishes, 1 decision? No, you finished that guy. You have all finishes in the UFC, correct?
Yeah, 3 finishes.
3 finishes?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 finishes in 6 months of fighting. Like, how does your body feel now with all the work you're doing compared to when you weren't as active in one?
Like shit.
Is that just because you're an athlete? Like I totally jumped the subject. We're talking about Robert Whittaker, and then we did that.
No,
now I'm back
okay.
here, but that's how my brain works. You're an athlete that thrives off of activity instead of inactivity.
Yeah, and I've been doing so much work, man. Everything kind of hurts, but I'm good. I'm ready. I'm getting in great shape. For some reason, I always have to get in a training camp. I don't know if you had it like this, but I have to get through over this little point, and now I don't get tired anymore. If I'm sparring, I don't get tired anymore. If any training, I can go as hard as I want to go. Scrambles, like 5 minutes of scrambles, and it's just I'm good. And 2 weeks ago, I was still after a scramble, be like, very tired. So I'm getting there. I'm feeling good. But it is everything hurts. This is part of the game. We're kicking, we're kneeing each other in the body all day. So yeah. And I'm trying to do everything right, like next to training as well. So I'm trying to do all my recovery stuff and try to. I even took a few days off last weekend. I took Saturday and Sunday off. So I'm trying to rest a little bit as well.
Now for recovery, do you do sauna ice barrel or ice baths? What do you do for your recovery?
Yeah, I do those. I try to do a couple times a week, like 3 or 4 times a week. I do the hyperbaric, do the UV light. You stand there.
Yep.
Yeah, finger. I don't know. You're just standing there, and I kind of always when I'm there, I'm like, why do I want to do this again? But makes you feel good, right? If when you step out of the ice bath, you feel better. So
yes,
it might be something to it. I like the hyperbaric a lot.
That's one thing I haven't tried. I haven't tried the hyperbaric chamber, but sauna ice bath, I love it. Like you said, when you step in it, it's like this sucks, but when you get out, it's like the rush and the way your body feels when it gets warm. It's probably my favorite thing to ever do. And then the next day when I go to train, I'll do sprints, lift weights. I'm like, this doesn't feel right. Like I feel super refreshed and recovered.
Yeah.
Where I feel like as an athlete that's competed for a very long time, when I feel like shit, that feels great because that's the norm, right? Like it shouldn't be the norm, but you lived in, you've trained in such shitty environments, or your body's always not 100%, that almost becomes accustomed, like training not 100%. It's like when you step into a fight, the producer, Michael Wondrov, he goes, how often are you guys actually 100% healthy? And I was like, maybe out of all the fights, maybe five times I fought, maybe I was like, I am not injured one fucking bit. Like I'm ready to go 110%.
Yeah, it's funny because we say this, but I don't really think people understand that. I don't think if you've never really trained, then I don't think people get how you feel. But it's all right. It's a part of the game, and it's true. You get used to it, and it's just it becomes your norm. That something hurts all the time, but it is what it is.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about the fight between you and Robert Whittaker. I think it's good. Like you said, he's lost it all. He's won it all. He's still there. He's very, very dangerous. Had a great fight with Hamzat before Hamzat got around his neck. And I think it would be a great matchup between you guys, because when I sit here and I think about this fight is, can Whittaker use his karate stance, keep you away, look to knock you out if you get too tall or if you overextend, and then can RDR get across the void, get your hands on him, or use your kickboxing, you have the length, you have the range. If you get it down, looking to use your size, TP pass, get heavy on his jaw, twist it, look to pass either left or right. Like, it's a very unique and a high level matchup. And the rest of the card is looking like a banger too. You got Peter Yan, you got Bryce Mitchell on there. He's making his 135 pound debut. Very, very sick card. Very, very sick card.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. And it's cool it's in Abu Dhabi. I love Abu Dhabi. So yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
So you're going back. So you're in the Netherlands. You come to America to train, and then you're gonna go over to Abu Dhabi. So you're gonna. But see, for you, you've gone back and forth your whole career. That you going to Abu Dhabi and getting used to the time zone change and the heat in Florida is almost probably identical. Not as humidity. So that should be easy peasy for you.
Yeah, and I've been to Abu Dhabi a bunch of times, competed a bunch of times over there, so I think I'll be fine. And I want to go back to home to the Netherlands first, so I'm already a little bit closer. Yeah, so I'll make sure I'm ready to go. But it's a big one. It's a big one. If I can do this one well, if I can finish him spectacularly, I'm really setting myself up for something big afterwards, I think. So, yeah, that's looking good.
I can't wait. Well, RDR, I don't want to take too much of your time. I know you got your Dutch wife sitting there. The kids are probably hanging out. This is your chance to let the fans know how they can support you, where they can look for your next. The floor is yours, brother.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm getting like a lot of love from you guys. The social medias are doing good, I think, as far as I know. Yeah, thanks a lot. Hopefully we can keep this thing going.
Boom. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is our guest, RDR. I am your host, Demetrious Johnson, and my right-hand man, Michael Wansover. He's busy cooking up in the kitchen to give you guys something special to always look at when you come to YouTube. Make sure you guys like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to go live when we drop a banger. We will see you guys at the next episode of the MightyCast. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Mighty Recap. And we just got done talking to our guest, who was RDR, Reinier de Ridder. Now, like I said before, a lot of you guys don't acknowledge anything outside of the UFC. But let you guys know, this gentleman was a 2-divisional sport champion and 1 championship. He's got a lot of great finishes over there, and he's had a lot of great battles with Anatoly Mannequin as well. Here he is. He makes his transition from 1 championship. He does a fight in the UAE, and then he makes his debut in the UFC. Wasn't the best debut, but it was kind of awkward. You know, obviously there's UFC jitters. We just saw a Patchy Mix fight in the UFC, and he didn't look himself. But RDR gets through that first fight, finishes his opponent, and then he turns around, fights again, fights Kevin Holland, finishes Kevin Holland, and then he turns around and fights again and fights Bo Nickal and finishes him on the feet. And now he's getting ready to fight Robert Whittaker. Now you talk about the activity that he is doing now in the UFC compared to when he's fighting 1 championship. And when you look at it, the UFC is a mixed it is an MMA product. They focus mostly on mixed martial arts. Where 1 championship, they're focused on mixed martial arts, kickboxing, Muay Thai, boxing every once in a blue moon, and submission grappling. So they have so many things under their umbrella, where in the UFC, they're just focused on one aspect of fighting, which is mixed martial arts. Now, when you look at that, that's why he has such a high activity rate, because there's so many more bodies that are in that pool of mixed martial arts. I did not know that he uprooted his family for a year in Florida to do his training. Now, this is one thing that me and my wife always talk about. I was like, moving up and going somewhere else, you know, with our children and chasing the sunshine instead of being in, you know, Washington State, where the weather's always gloomy, then it's raining. Like yesterday it was 85, now it's raining. It's very unpredictable weather. So to hear that he uprooted the whole family and go training in Florida, where he's going to have bodies on bodies, great training, great coaching, and his kids are with him. It's always fascinating to me that, you know, I said in the show that I didn't have, you know, I wasn't surrounded in a room full of killers, right? Like I had a lot of people who were hobbyists. I had some guys who were very good. We had, you know, I would say out of the time I was there at the tail end of my career, 2 professionals, James Yang and Karis Fedor. You know, those guys were bigger than me. But when it came to 135, 125, we didn't have any professionals in the room besides Bibiano Fernandez, who would come down when he got ready for his fights in 1 championship or Dream. He never fought in the UFC because UFC wasn't going to pay him. Now, I want to talk about this matchup between Robert Whittaker versus RDR. It's a very unique matchup because, you know, RDR coming over from 1 championship, very big 185er, taking on a former world champion in Robert Whittaker. Last time we saw Whittaker, he had, you know, that nasty, you know, teeth got fucked up essentially when Hamzat grabbed his neck and squeezed. And now he's taking on RDR, another grappling ace. He is good on the feet, but I feel RDR's strong suit is on the ground. And I'm excited to watch it to see if RDR can get across the void, get his hands on Robert Whittaker, or will the Reaper or Bobby Knuckles be able to take out and put a halt to RDR's rising star in the UFC. And, a lot of people don't know this, but when he was in one championship and he left, you take a big gamble on yourself, right? And I think at the end of the day, every athlete should always gamble on themselves, meaning that if you believe that you want to get out of a situation that you're stuck in or you're not liking it, he took a gamble. He fought on a regional show. He could have lost at that regional show and not be able to fight for one championship or the UFC, but he took a gamble on himself. He wins that fight, and then that's where he punches his ticket in order to get into the UFC. So shout out to him for believing in himself and taking a gamble on himself, because a lot of athletes are scared to do it. And I was never put in that situation in my career. Actually, I was put in a situation in my career when I lost to Cejudo the second time. I did not want to be in the UFC anymore. I wanted to get out because I knew, one, the pay was going to be shit, and two, I was stuck in the same division. It was going to be the same guys, and then I'll have to hear Dana White and those guys just say blah, 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 blah. So I got the opportunity to get out of my contract and go fight at one championship where they valued my skill set. They valued my morals, my loyalty, how I viewed martial arts, and how I carried myself more than the UFC did. So for me, I got out of a shitty situation and got in a better one with one championship. Where you look at RDR, some people might say he got out of a bad situation and into a better one. I've always said this. Everybody's experience with every other organization is always going to be different. You ask me how my experience was with the UFC, I'll say it was good up until I won a pay-per-view points, and Dana White's gonna go off and say da-da-da-da-da. Then I got in one championship. I had an amazing time. They treated me very well. I had a very successful career. And then you might ask RDR, he said the beginning of his career was great. Then the tail end of it was kind of, inactivity. Granted, once again, they are a company that focuses on all forms of martial arts, not just mixed martial arts. So the talent pool or just the bodies in that division, there wasn't a lot. I mean, he was a 2-divisional sport champion. It's very rare you see that in any form of mixed martial arts. You have Ilia Topuria, who want the opportunity to go up and fight at 155, where the UFC won't allow athletes to hang on to their belt. You look at Islam Makhachev, he has relinquished the 155-pound belt. He's going up to 170, so he's not even a champion anymore when you think about it. Where in one championship, you would see guys, Anatoly Menikin, I think he was a 3-divisional sport champion. It's like, how the fuck do you become a 3-sport divisional champion? Is there not enough bodies in there to have? So it's a very interesting thing when you sit back and you talk about it and you think about it. It's like, how does somebody become a 2-divisional sport champion or a 3-divisional sport champion? It's kind of unheard of, especially if there's, you have 10 guys in a division and there's all these, guys in there. But anywho, I think RDR is in a great space. I think he's a guy who thrives off activity. He's a guy who thrives off of just being able to fight as much as possible, because like you said, it's a very short window of opportunity for athletes to make as much money, build their brand as big as they can, because after they're done fighting, what is next, right? If you don't spend your career fighting, you're fighting once a year, you're not really building your brand, you're not in the eyes of the public. When you retire, you're not going to have a brand to be able to monetize off like some guys like Sugar Sean O'Malley, or you look at Paddy Pimblett, you look at Tom Aspinall. Those guys are building their brand while they're being active. Unfortunately, Tom Aspinall has been active because we're still waiting on what's going to happen between him and John Jones, or what's next in his career. Obviously, I'm dating this, but at the same time, it is the truth. A lot of these guys, they sit and wait. And while they wait, they just train. They don't think about building their brand. And obviously, RDR is going to work on building that brand part, but he's being very active in his career in order to get the opportunity to stack that paper and be able to build a brand as he is winning. Another thing I found fascinating about talking to RDR is him having that physical therapist practice for 10 years and finally closing the door on that, even though he didn't work there as much. But for him, after he's done fighting, he can open up another practice in Florida if he's able to, and start seeing professional athletes in mixed martial arts, just to be able to get back and have something to do after he is done fighting. So very unique story and very happy we got the opportunity to talk to him, because I always wanted to ask him, you know, the transition from him coming from one championship to UFC, and also the weight cutting. Now, everybody is going to say, you know, people don't cheat. There's not a loophole. At the end of the day, guys, weight cutting is something that's designed. It's not designed, but it sits in every fucking combat sport, right? Everybody wants to have the advantage of being bigger. Now, I do agree in one championship, I felt like they had the best weight cutting protocol. Do people try to do the loopholes and all that stuff or cheat, however you want to look at it? Yes, they do. Everybody fucking cheats. It's the name of the game when it comes to weight cutting, right? I think the hardest way for them when they had it before COVID was you would have to weigh in 2 times before you fight. So it would be, we would fight Friday night. So Wednesday, you would have to weigh in 135. Thursday, you would have to weigh in at 135. And then Friday, you would fight. So the reason why you do that is because your body can't put on that weight. You don't want to go like this. You want to get down to 135. You weigh in, and then you blow up just a little bit. You keep living a normal lifestyle. Then when you wake up in the morning, you weigh 135. And both those times, you have to be hydrated. So you don't want to put that stress on your body. Could you imagine you're 135? You show up to the event at 155, you cut to 135 on Wednesday, then you blow back up to 145, then you go back down to 135 on Thursday, weigh in. By the time you fight, your body's gonna be doing this up and down. So I felt the best way and method of keeping people at their weight division was 2 weigh-ins before the fight. But that's a lot of work. A lot of athletes, like RDR says, you have a lot of cancellations. A lot of people aren't disciplined, and it's not good for sponsors. It's not good for the event. It's not good for investors. So I think the weight cutting will always be a part of mixed martial arts or combat sports. And I don't think nobody will get the right recipe. But you know, we'll see. So boys, if you guys enjoyed this episode of the MightyCast, please leave a like, subscribe, and also hit the bell to go live. And please leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about the weight cutting system and RDR making the transition from one championship to UFC, how he's been able to thrive with activity. So boys, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. We will see you guys at the next episode of the MightyCast.